We're talking trades on today's show, so let me know. Should the Browns be buyers at the NFL trade deadline on October 31st? Yes or no? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, filming today's show during our live show, which airs every single Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. So tune in for another live show if you missed this past one. But we're talking trades. We're talking trade targets, guys the Browns can maybe go out and get during the trade deadline or before it, excluding the quarterback position, because that is such a big question mark right now as I film this and what the future is with Watson in 2024. So remove quarterback for the equation. Let's talk about the other needs the Browns might have, specifically the running back position, because Jerome Ford is down with an ankle injury. You don't have Nick Chubb anymore. Kareem Hunt played through a thigh injury in the Colts game. You might invest in another running back at the trade deadline, and there are some popular names out there. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Cordarrelle Patterson, Antonio Gibson, and Rashaad Penny. 5 players that have been rumored to be available leading into the NFL trade deadline. Of course, Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are the 2 biggest names, and specifically Derrick Henry. And when we look at the numbers over the 2023 season so far, take out Cordarrelle Patterson because he missed the first couple of weeks. Derrick Henry's having a good year, but he's not having a tractor-cedo season. In fact, he's getting up there in the age column. He's 29 years old. He'll turn 30 in January, I believe. Dalvin Cook is already available in New York after signing with the Jets back in August. But if there's one guy of these 5 that I'm zeroing in on, I'm not really all that excited about it, honestly. But Dalvin Cook, I don't like Dalvin Cook all that much. That's the crazy thing here. But compared to the rest of them, I think he's probably the best option, right? Derrick Henry is not going to go for anything cheap. Tennessee's going to want something good for him. I'm not interested in giving up something good for Derrick Henry and where he's at in his career. It's a big name. It would be exciting in the moment, but 5 weeks in, and Derrick Henry's averaging 3.6 yards a carry and getting 64 yards a game, I don't know how exciting that's going to be for the Browns. But Dalvin Cook, on the other hand, he might get you the same production, but he's not going to cost you nearly as much as Derrick Henry would. Listen, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, Rashaad Penny, and even Cordarrelle Patterson, they're all going to go for similar amounts of a day 3 pick swap. The running back market is always tough to judge when it comes to trade value, but I don't think any of these guys are going to go for anything more than a 6th-round pick. It's probably going to be a 6th and a 7th-round pick swap between the 2 teams. So of those 4 players, if they're all going to cost the same, which one's the most enticing? I would think Dalvin Cook, right? I think the guy that last year went over 1,000 yards. The average has gone down. You can see from 5 to 4.7 to 4.4 to 2.8. But if we're asking him to just be a part of a committee and balance the workload with Kareem Hunt and hopefully Jerome Ford gets a little bit extra breathing room so he can get that ankle right and not rush back too early, Dalvin Cook is probably the best option of those 4 similar price players. Now, one name that jumps out to me that I didn't talk about too much is Rashaad Penny. He's done nothing for Philly so far. I've heard the Eagles aren't dying to trade him because they love depth at running back, but I go back to 2021, and the way Rashaad Penny, the former 1st-round pick, ended the year for Seattle, averaging 7.2 yards a carry in the last third of the season, 671 yards and 6 touchdowns. If you can find that guy for a similar stretch of half a season or so for a 6th or 7th-round pick, that would be a trade that might save the Browns' offense moving into the playoffs. So this would definitely be some name to keep an eye on. Now, before we get on to the rest of my trade targets, today's show is being supported by BetUS. Our sportsbook partner has the best deal for the dog pound in all of the land. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Done that? Good. Now enter the promo code Browns125. You're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. You do not have to put anything down on the Browns-Seahawks game. What I want you to put something down on is this: Myles Garrett to win the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. The odds right now are plus 200, so if you were to bet $100, you would win $200. I love those odds. I think Myles Garrett has a real shot of winning the award. So make sure you put some cheddar down right now. chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. I want to share a quick quote from a Dianna Russini article about the Browns going into the NFL trade deadline, where she says, the Cleveland Browns have been calling around as both buyers and sellers. They've been scanning the market looking for some affordable options. I'm told they are looking to add a receiver and an offensive lineman. So let's start on the receiver end. Which wide receiver could they be looking for? There's a lot of guys out there, but I'm going to zero in on these three players. DeAndre Hopkins, the lesser of the two D-Hops right now, Marquise Brown, and Jerry Jeudy. So far, the three players are off to okay to solid starts. No one's really blown me away yet. I bet you didn't think Marquise Brown has been the better of these three guys so far, but he's got the most receptions, the most yards, and the most touchdowns. Part of me says you traded for Elijah Moore. You signed Marquise Goodwin. You drafted Cedric Tillman. You traded for Amari Cooper a little while ago. You made your bed. Now you got to sleep in it. Like, at some point, even someone like me who loves how aggressive Andrew Berry is goes, you can't go full Rams mode and trade all the picks unless you've got a very healthy offense and defense, which they don't have right now. Stick with the additions you made and don't give up more assets and really start digging yourself a bigger hole in the future if you don't hoist the Lombardi in February. That's the coward in me. That's the pussy in me, if I'm being honest, okay? Let's just get to the point. But another part of me says this. This defense is too good to waste. This team has too much talent on it. This team is 4-2. The offense needs playmakers if they have a bad or injured quarterback. Go get more playmakers and keep this season afloat. I have both guys. I've got the devil and the angel on my shoulder. One saying, caution, caution, yellow light. The other one says, never be the first guy to red light. Go for it. Go get a playmaker. So if you do have PJ Walker starting for 4 weeks or so if Watson goes to IR, he's got more than just Amari Cooper to work with. He's got playmakers all around him, right? A defense that has to have their efforts rewarded because they are kicking ass right now. I go back and forth. So honestly, you tell me, should the Browns add a wide receiver? I want the people to decide because I can't make up my mind right now. Add or pass? Give me your honest opinion in the comment section. Now, the other part that Russini mentioned was offensive line. There are two guys that I've seen talked about a lot as potential trade candidates. Trent Brown, the tackle for the New England Patriots, and Garett Bolles, the left tackle for the Denver Broncos. Compare these two guys head-to-head this year. They are both having great seasons, but especially Trent Brown. I mean, PFF has him ranked as the second best tackle in football right now. He is having a career season as far as offensive linemen go. Only 8 pressures allowed and 2 sacks for Trent Brown, whereas Garett Bolles is giving up 10 pressures and 1 sack. So Barry, before or going into the bye, go back in time with me for a moment here. Remember, Andrew Berry expressed a lot of belief in Jed Wills. He kind of called him out in that press conference saying, Jed has to be better. We know that, and he knows that. And since the bye, Wills has gotten the message loud and clear. He has been much better the last 2 weeks. I go back to that last play against the Colts on the goal line, 4th and goal. Who was making a huge block to give a big enough crease for Kareem Hunt to get to the to get to the end zone? Jed Wills was. They ran to the left side, not the right side. So I could see the Browns saying, Jed Wills got the message. He's picked it up. Let's stick with him the rest of the year. Let's not shake it up too much right now. And let's see if he can, keep the fort down, hold the fort down, and keep it together for the rest of the season. And if he's not the guy in 2024, we'll address that in the offseason. But for now, we're going to stick with him as our left tackle because he has played much better since the bye. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Matthew Petey. If you ever want to talk Brownies, my DMs are always open. More than happy to respond and whatnot. So follow me over on Twitter if you have not already.